What's up, guys? We are back with the Breaking Boundaries podcast. We're excited to bring you another episode. Raphael, how you feeling today?
Feeling fucking good.
Yeah. All right. So today we have a special guest, Tyler Viglione, and he is a local photographer in the Boston area. He also was a photographer in the military, and he lived in a bunch of different states around the U.S. So we're going to actually have him introduce himself. So, Tyler, how's it going?
It's going good. Excited to be here. Basically, started my journey as a photographer in the United States Marine Corps. Served for 4 years over west in San Diego. And that's really where, all of what I'm doing today started. Right now, I'm working on just the craft as a whole, hammering it in, getting good, getting as best as I can be, and also inspiring those who would like to be where I'm at one day. So.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, appreciate you being on the podcast. We're excited to have you here. And, this is a new thing for us, but we're really having a good time just talking to local people that are in this creative industry and who are really trying to pursue this path.
Yeah.
So
break those boundaries.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But so I wanted to ask you, what did you learn from being a photographer in the military, or just how was being a photographer in the military?
For an 18-year-old to be given a camera and learning a whole new craft, it's intense. They kind of throw you right into it. From what I learned in the school that they put you in the military, I got 2 weeks of training with a camera before they threw me out and had me going full force. But basically, it's an awesome job. You capture and document everything the military is doing. You basically tell a military story, or in my case, the Marine Corps story. It's such a high rate of just going. You're always doing something new. Either you're shooting or you're writing. Because I had the whole writing side too, so I was a journalist on top of photographer. So learning both of those, learning a journalistic style of writing on top of learning, a camera. They gave me the 5D Mark III. So a full frame at that.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It was a big kit, a very fun kit, but they really just throw you in and you go, and really it's whatever the day brings, whatever someone needs covered.
And there's a couple of you there that are kind of all running around, or
Basically, yeah. So we had a team of, from my base, we had a team of, it was only four Marines that we covered. So my experience is a little bit different than most. I was working mainly recruiting, and it was just always documenting something for the general, foreign dignitaries that would come through, or going in the field up in Pendleton to really, out at any training events or anything like that, you just go shoot, and you go hang out with them. You basically just show up with your camera and do whatever you want and capture the day, and then go back. If you're writing a story on it, then you write your story. It has to be done within 24 hours. Next day.
quick turnaround.
So they had you on the deadlines too.
Sometimes we were going live. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So
fuck it, we're doing it live.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So and then more toward my.
Had to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're fine. During the tail end of my service, I was I turned over more to media. So I worked with every state from the Mississippi all the way to California. I worked with the local news media, so Fox News, CNN, stuff like that. They came out. I got to learn a lot about that industry with them. I would be conducting interviews with them. I've been on national TV. Different independent networks have came out and they did their piece on us. And sometimes I got to be in it. Sometimes I was just kind of the driving force behind it. But it was definitely, for career progression-wise, I learned more than I ever needed.
Wow.
It was amazing. It really was.
What was the thing you would say that you can take away the most? Everyone has their tool in Photoshop or their tool in Premiere or their thing that I've worked a few jobs of customer service, and I just am so grateful today that I have that walking up, hey, how you doing? How we doing today? Able to hold a conversation on a train if someone wants to be hi, how's it going? I can just be all right, old man, let's talk. You know, fine. What would be that thing for you that you feel you pulled away the most?
to narrow that down to one thing would
Maybe
be
a few
extremely-
things.
A few things would be discipline, absolutely. Having a 24-hour turnaround, multiple stories, just multiple documentations of things that were going on. The discipline in doing something and getting it done right away to move on to the next.
Yeah,
on
that's
top of
huge.
that is just being able to multitask, because of being a photojournalist and being, in the media sector wasn't my only job. I had 10 other jobs to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like some weeks I'd be working 120 hours.
Wow.
Actually, scratch that. It wasn't 120 hours, but 90 to 100 hours.
Yeah.
I would calculate sometimes just because I'd be up doing all day, go to sleep for a couple hours, go back at it, especially during the busier weeks. So discipline and definitely experience are
For
two
sure.
things. Because like nowadays, I've met so many photographers in the last few months, just local photographers, and a lot of them just, let's say, why aren't I this good yet? Why aren't I this good yet? And I'm like, because you don't have the experience, bro. Like, for
Right.
me, there's been so many events that I had to go do before anybody here knew me like that,
Yeah.
that I had to do that, something messed up, my card corrupted, something like that. And I had to figure it out, do corrective action, and carry
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Because these events aren't happening again.
Yeah.
These foreign
One time,
dignitaries,
yeah.
they're not coming again.
Yeah.
And there's the biggest one I can remember is a general from China. He came through, and it was super locked down. And I got to go. They told me, hey, you're in charge of covering this and getting good. And they only wanted photos of his face. And so
Wow.
I got the opportunity to run around with the Chinese general and about 3 or 4 generals from the base. And
Were you like a 7200 or something?
for that, no, I was using 24 to 70.
Yeah.
Then I was a 70 to 300, I believe.
Okay.
The
The-
big white one from Canon.
Quick side note, my first paid gig, this was like a year in, a couple years back, I took the SD card the night before. Everything was already on an external hard drive, so I just highlighted everything, pulled it in the trash, and exported the card. But I didn't delete from the trash, so it was still on the card. And I showed up the next morning. It was a 6:30 a.m. Gig, and I was shooting stock photo for a graphic designer that was rebranding a local gym. And I was at the gym, and they'd like gotten people that worked there that were athletic to like pose as the models and stuff like that, working out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember like putting it in the camera and just seeing like 900 photos like were on it. I'm like, there's like maybe 50 photos that I can take.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, and I'm like, look at like a different
Couldn't
SD
you
card.
format it?
What's up?
Couldn't you format it?
I could format it, but it wouldn't matter. Like I had to either like delete from the camera on the camera.
Did you already start
trash.
shooting or something?
Yeah, I basically started shooting, and then it was like at 0, and then I was like, what? And I was like, oh fuck.
then you got to like
and-
individually delete basically.
And I was like,
I've had a situation
I was
like
like, I mean, I've had batteries die that I thought were charged or things like that. But even so, like reformatting, did I fucking know what reformatting was? No, like I didn't even know like any of that shit anyways.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
just like, it was so early on that I was like, what?
It's always the little things that, you're not going to know unless it happens to you.
Yeah,
Like,
and then you're
But
like, I'm never gonna make that mistake again.
But it's
Exactly.
it's like good, you know what I mean? It's like those things that end up being good
Oh,
because
100%.
you just learn from it and then you're just better.
Absolutely.
And at first it's like why did this, you could be in this mindset of like, why did this happen to me? Like there's always issues with my gear. Like I shot an interview last winter and it was for NBC News Digital. And I don't even know how I ended up getting it, but I got on this freelance website
Good.
and it was really cool. But
Yeah.
then it went terrible.
yeah. Yeah.
Like so the way they do these interviews now on some of these freelance websites, it's actually really cool. But this website I use called Story Hunter, so it hooks you up with journalism gigs or other kind of gigs like that with actual like big time media companies.
Yeah.
A lot of them based out in New York. So this one was a sit down interview in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the whole thing was the journalist who was doing the story was not going to be physically there. She was calling in. And then I was filming and capturing sound and everything over the phone. I had to call her and she did the interview over speakerphone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the person. So I I got into the place and it was a Microsoft Research Center in Cambridge. And then I was scrambling to like find a good spot. The interview started in 30 minutes. And I just there was not really anywhere good to shoot. There's all these little like private rooms where it's like a very high tech place. Yeah. They have these little like private cubicle rooms where you can like do work.
Yeah.
And then they have these really amazing looking common areas. But you can't shoot there and record sound because there's all people walking around,
right,
and like
talking,
drinking coffee and talking. So we had to go into this little room. It's the only thing that was available, and there was no space behind him. I couldn't really create depth with the interview. No. Then the microphone that I was using was like this like cheap $30 microphone that I got from Amazon. Yeah. Definitely not ideal. Yeah. So I had it was a lav that I had, and it was a corded lav, so it was like on him. And it was connected to my camera, and it was just like
I can just picture it right now.
I was like sweating, and then anyway, so then they wanted me to film in 4K on my camera, which it does, so that you could crop in for a second angle and not lose any quality. Yeah. That's like one of the main benefits of filming in 4K for those kind of shoots. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that, and my camera had an issue, and it started overheating. So during the middle of the interview, I had to stop the interview because my camera was not working. Yeah. So then like the result was, and then there was also an issue with like the picture profile, the coloring that they wanted me to use was something I'd never used before. Yeah. So then there was part of it where it was like slightly out of focus. Yeah. And then the sound was too loud. Yeah. The lighting wasn't that good, and then the actual like place where we were doing the interview was so like it was like a blank wall behind it, which is like the worst thing ever. Yeah. So it went terrible. I still got paid $500 to do that interview and then send them the footage. Like, no. But I felt like
kind of destroyed a little bit.
I felt destroyed. Wow. I was like, wow, like this is what they paid me to do, what I'm supposed to be good at, and I just fucked it all out.
Oh man, I don't really look back.
But it was a learning lesson.
At like maybe like the photos or anything like that. But and if I did, I've learned at this point after the amount of gigs that I'm just like always getting better, and that like of course I didn't know that much then, and that's okay. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like just like working, I did a whole internship on product photography and spent a whole semester shooting product photography, and it was a whole learning experience in part. But like even just like shooting the headshots for each of the designers, which was like 25 designers in the firm that I was working for, it was just like, those are garbage headshots. But like, damn. But
it wasn't at the time.
It wasn't at the time. No, I was like, these are fucking sick. Like
you see how it goes.
Yeah. Like
it's but crazy how that works, man.
Yeah, and then there was like a great photographer that I watched. That I follow on YouTube that just talked about like it's nice to look back at your work and be like you should be looking back at your work and being like, I was there and now I'm here. Yeah. And your best work shouldn't be what you shot like a year ago. You can be like, that was a dope photograph. That was a cool photograph from like, a Germany trip. Like I'll never get that photograph again in the mountains or whatever. Yeah. That was a really cool photograph, but it shouldn't be your fucking best photograph. You should have shot something better by now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So I think, what like, how did you even like, you knew you were going into the military, and you were gonna like, you just were like, I'll take any fucking position. I'll be a cook. I don't care. Or you were like, ooh, I kind of like, this is fucking cool. I've looked up the media website for like military. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, so, I mean, the way it kind of played out, my recruiter called me one day and he said, hey, I got a job you can't pass up. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, you like to take pictures? I was like, no. But I was 17. Yeah. So I remember it to this day. I don't know where we were, but we were on a field trip, and I was in the bathroom talking to him, and I'm just like, I always think that's to that decision, because that's really what like made the course of my military career. Yeah. But I called someone because I wanted to deploy. That's all I wanted to do. I was like, just send me somewhere. Yeah. I want to leave. Just get me out of the country. Yeah. And I was like, hey, what's the deployment rate with this job? And he was like, oh, mostly all the time. You'll be deploying a lot. And I was like, hell yeah. Oh, cool. So 17 years old, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now, what I wanted didn't happen, but the job as a whole, honestly, you do every job in the Marine Corps at least, and you get to tell about it. Yeah. Right. You get to go out and do that cool stuff, and the government's paying for all your equipment. Right. So, and most of the time, like, because the whole infantry thing, if you're not an infantryman or a grunt, as we call them, then you're a pogue or personnel other than grunt. So when you're in my job,
That's hilarious, bro.
like you'll see the grunts just walking, you know, they'll be hiking and doing whatever. Now I'd be the kind of Marine that was out with them. You know, I would do the hikes whenever. I didn't get to do that many with a camera, but you know, sometimes you could be riding in the truck.
Yeah.
And just taking photos of them driving by in the truck.
Yeah.
And they'll hate you because they'll be like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just sitting comfy in the truck. But honestly, it was just such a versatile job. Some Marines I knew got to go to an Air Force network.
Yeah.
And basically, it's just this, you know, this huge base that they actually run a whole network from. You could watch it on TV. They have a special channel and stuff like that. It's all military news.
Wow.
And they got hooked up. I mean, some guys I knew went to like 120 countries within their enlistment.
Wow. That's insane.
So there's different, you know, beside where I was, the job as a whole, like I would pick it again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't think that the military is so structured, it's a certain way and it will always be a certain way. Nobody thinks about after the service. Like they want to go do that cool stuff. They want to go blow stuff up like I did.
Yeah.
But no one really thinks, okay, when it's my time to walk away, what am I going to do?
Right.
Because for me, the biggest thing, like going into the military, easy.
Yeah.
They treat you like a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And you do whatever you got to do. You follow the rules. You show up to work. Like I always say, it's not passing boot camp that's the hardest. It's staying in your enlistment.
Yeah.
Until you get that, you know, that one day. And that one day for me was crazy. I woke up one day, went, signed a paper. That was it. Like that whole 4 years gone.
Wow.
And they're like, all right, have a nice life. So you really get to prepare. And with this job, I dealt with so much of like the civilian world intertwined with the military world that it wasn't as hard for me because, you know, all the experience. If I had just been shooting guns for 4 years, I'd get out and be a cop, be a police, or you know, security guard, something. But no, now I'm in this, you know, and like me and Matt were talking a couple days ago about I didn't want to be a photographer. You know, when I was in, I was like, I'm done with any of this. Any multimedia, I'm done because it was so stressful, so time consuming, just so much for me. I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But then, you know, getting out, taking some time off, I really realized that, you know, I picked up a camera again and I realized I was like, no, this is going to be fun because now it's my time.
Yeah,
to do what I want to do.
Right, exactly.
And
it's the difference between working for someone and working for yourself.
Exactly. So, and that journey for me only started in October of last year, so not even a year yet.
Yeah, great.
And from that, I mean, it's just been, I mean, my experience behind a camera is, I mean, I can't even say how many pictures or how many photos I've taken.
Yeah.
How many photos I've edited. You know, how much time I spent in Bridge and Lightroom and Premiere. I've learned After Effects. I've learned Photoshop. I've learned everything on the military's dime. Yeah. And now it's my time to get out and really like dive into the craft. It's like when I started this last year, I really asked myself, what was my version of success? You know, where do I want to take this craft?
That's a good question.
And I couldn't answer it. I still can't answer it because I don't think you're supposed to answer it. At least at my stage in the game or at my age, in our ages.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a question that you continue to work on and you build toward. Because for me, I've realized it's not money. Money doesn't make you successful. In my experiences, I've had money and I've been broke. And being broke taught me everything I needed to know. You know, of what's actually important.
That's a good call.
And
that's interesting, yeah.
Absolutely. And with the camera, like the gear I'm shooting on right now, it's beaten. It's so broken.
My autofocus.
My autofocus barely works. And I'm just like, all right, well, let's keep going. But I'm still creating these images that people are like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, does the equipment make the photographer? Absolutely not.
No.
Only in terms of quality.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like riding an old bike to a brand new bike.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the quality between how good your stuff
both
is.
get you from A to B.
Exactly. And if I can do what I'm doing with my $800 camera compared to someone with a $4,000 camera, it's only going to be better for me when I upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a
and
good
I was running
point.
around with a broken tripod and a desk lamp, shooting in dorm room bathrooms and stuff like that with
Yeah.
a
That's
10
legit.
megapixel camera. And people were like, I wish I could shoot photos. What kind of camera do you have? Oh, your camera is worth 3 times as much as mine. So you haven't watched
But
a
you don't
YouTube
have any
video.
creativity, bro.
You don't have any
Like-
creativity, or you haven't watched a YouTube video, or you haven't put in the hours of the time or the work. I've stayed up all night, all day working on this camera and working and running through these dorms and shaking hands and trying to like push myself, and I used that camera for the first year of shooting, and I was just like, yeah, like with a stock lens, you know. So it's just like that. It's really about like like either creativity, but also like time. You got to put in the effort, you got to put in the time, man hours, and you had that base built for you.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really, really interesting. To like for like you said, like for photographers that are picking up cameras. Oh, why isn't this happening? Like you had a fat like real time like you have the difference between, I worked in a lot of kitchens, you have the difference between the culinary students that come in, and you can tell the difference between the culinary students that come in the kitchen and the people that were born and raised in the dish pit and were bred in kitchens, what I'm saying? They know. And so, but like you were like in the live field and also learning at the same time.
The way I look at even the events I did while I was in the military, like everything was a learning experience. It doesn't matter if I knocked it out of the park or if I sucked at it.
Yeah.
I learned
Exactly.
either way.
Exactly.
And it built the confidence in me.
You seen that Jocko Willink video where it's like good?
Jocko Willink, dude.
Yeah,
oh
he's
my
the
God.
best.
You know him, right?
No, I don't
He's
think so.
he's a Marine, and he
Ex-Marine.
has this video that's just titled "Good." I used to watch it like every day before I'd go
I'll
to
check it out.
work. It's
I've
like
seen
2
it.
minutes.
I've
He just
seen
talks
it.
about good, and if you broke your arm, good. Now you can learn. Now you can like recalibrate how you like are not going to do that next time.
Yep.
Like no matter what's good, because you're always going to learn from the mistakes that you made, and you're also going to learn from the highs that you ride.
Absolutely, and I think that ties hand in hand with failure.
For sure.
There's been so many events where I can consider myself a failure just because I didn't meet the expectations I put on myself. And I really took a step back when I started all this about what does it mean to lose and what does it mean to win. And the biggest thing I learned from that was that you have to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Big
100%.
time.
absolutely changed my life.
Yeah.
Just absolutely changed my life.
And it's just like your relationship to that failure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like a lot, I think, and in relationship to risk, because there's a lot, there, and for a portion of my life, I feel like I was like that too, but there's like risk, there's a large portion of people that are risk averse.
Yeah.
And they think failure means like total failure.
Yeah.
And not realizing that actually is a prerequisite to actually then be successful.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that.
Exactly.
or the start of their like I know a couple of people in multimedia or in some sort of art form field, music or dancing or whatever, that from the get-go they've just got nothing but like good job and gotten nothing but like a good gig and gotten nothing but like a magazine feature and gotten nothing but this and this, and they're just like sneaker line and this, and they're like, oh shit, and shit's going up, and all their captions and all they talk about is how like they know they're gonna be this, and it's just like and I'm like, I mean, I don't fucking, God forbid, but like you can get in a car crash tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
and you need to know how to handle that. Like fucking, I mean, it's hard to like say, but just like understand that like life can throw you fucking punches and like push you back and forth. And
Oh,
like,
trust me, you're looking at it right here.
Yeah, dude.
Adversity, man. The adversity I faced in my life. Only, I'm 24 years old.
Right.
I can go into detail about my story. And hopefully in another podcast, we can
definitely.
do that. But in life, what I've learned is that it's so much more simple than we all put it. I don't want to. I just want to generalize here.
Sure.
As
Go for it.
that life is this complicated game that, you know, you have to do this, have to do that.
Right.
When in reality, it's so simple. And it's really
Truly,
just
truly.
about how we treat others. You know, we're all in this together. In a weird way, we're kind of like teammates. You know,
Yeah.
as a society,
100%.
as a species, really, because we can't do anything without, or not anything, but we can't do a lot without each other.
Exactly.
And
We pause it real quick.
oh, that's
Yeah.
that's already 28 minutes.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Shit.
Guys, we had to hit pause on the podcast because the cameras reached their limit with the battery. So we just needed to do that. We're new to this podcasting thing. So we are back here with Tyler, and we were just talking about how, you know, he said that, you know, we're basically all teammates in life. So
We're all together.
yeah, so I'll go on about that for a little bit, Tyler.
Well, I mean, you look at anything. You look at buildings. You look at cars. You look at anything that's, you know, been produced. It hasn't been produced by one person.
Yeah.
And that goes with science too. Anything really. I mean, to see where us as a species is at this point in our history, you know, no one's done it alone. It's always been a team effort.
But
So,
for
sure.
some reason right now, and I think I'm just, you know, thinking off the top of my head, but like I just feel like so much of society right now, especially like in the last 20 years or something, has said you can do this by yourself. You got this by yourself. Like, and I think that's why so many of us are afraid to say, hey man, I'm having a fucking rough day. Like, can you help me out? Or can we just talk? Or can we just sit down and like have a conversation because I can't handle this right now?
Yeah.
Or I have a problem with this substance or something. I need to go somewhere and have a collective group of people help me out. Like, so many people just don't want to do that, or are subconsciously or consciously afraid to do that because they're like, no, you're weak if you ask for help. If I can lift this box by myself, it's way more heroic, or you're a strong man, than being like, hey man, can you help me out with this? I don't really want to throw out my back today, you know what I'm saying? But if you're like I can get it.
You know
I can
why?
get it, you
I
know?
can tell you why.
Yeah.
Because everyone has an ego to uphold.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
You
just
know?
going to say,
It's
that's
all
the
about-
ego, man.
Because, I mean, you want to talk about, you know, mental illness, you want to talk about stuff like that. You know, it's what's going on in the world nowadays is what technology is doing to us as a species. You know, the new age, we've lived through it at our ages. Like, we
Yeah.
were born in the 90s to now, the huge transformation.
Windows
between when I was growing up.
95 to now
Now?
is like,
Damn.
It's
Yeah.
unreal. And we
Crazy.
don't know how to cope with that.
yeah.
And
It's
hobbies
still
are going
new. It's
away.
still new to us. We're like,
It is. But
How
no
do
one
we-
wants to work with their hands anymore because
Yeah.
everything is becoming more accessible.
yep.
So,
Right.
you know, there's been people that I've like, hey, what's your hobby? What do you do on your off time? Oh, I watch TV. You know, oh, I do this. It's like, why don't you create? Because you create and you feel 100% different about yourself because something's yours.
Right.
And that's what brought me into what I'm doing today. You know, today I'm showing the world what can be done with a little bit of time, patience, and willpower.
Right.
I'm nothing special. I wasn't born with any special talents. The only thing I was born with was, you know, the discipline and the will to create things that people have never seen. And I'm not saying or
You
sitting
kind
here.
of shaped that, really. You probably weren't born with that.
No.
either.
And
Born with two
that's,
hands that work, two legs that work, a
Yep.
brain that works.
and I'm better off than, you know, millions of people.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it's a trap that people get into when they're like, get in these trap, like, oh, those people are better than me, or, you know, I can't do that. They're doing that cool thing or that amazing thing. They're having this awesome life. I can't do that. It's like that whole mindset right there is the reason that you won't be able to do that.
Oh, once you,
know what
stop
I mean?
comparing, it's completely different.
Right.
The
And
game's
social media
changed.
kind of encourages that comparison.
Because it's
in a
really
way.
easy to be like, fuck, I wish.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
also just a snapshot, and it's, you know, the highlight reel of people's lives. It's not their real life.
No.
It's
Yeah.
not the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's also where the trap is. But and then yeah, I mean that's just kind of how it is. And being aware of that and knowing that like you have the capability. You know, maybe you started at a point that was. You know, less of an advantage of other people, but that almost can be an advantage in itself because it gives you motivation and you kind of show people or you show yourself that you actually have to create that opportunity for yourself.
Absolutely. And now, you know, in terms of, you know, today's world, anything's possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
people make excuses more than they just take the minute to figure something
It's
out.
way easier to make an excuse than it
is.
is to actually get up and do something.
Yeah, because I mean, I was working 2 jobs. I was doing all my photography stuff afterward.
Yeah.
I was up at 3, 4 in the morning. I had to be
Yep.
up in 3 hours to go back to work.
Yep.
I didn't care
Same
because I
shit.
want to get those photos edited.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
And it was because I wanted to that it got done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what society needs to heal right now is people that just, you know, take these times for what they are, the accessibility to information that we have. And you can literally learned photography, Photoshop, so many things off YouTube.
Just
man.
YouTube.
For
yeah.
free.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sign up for 1 free month trials.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
simple. You need a laptop and a camera and a little bit of energy.
Yep.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
possible. I taught myself the guitar within a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the best, but hey, every day I work on it.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah, man, and I think
So-
that will take you a long way. They'll take anyone a long way. Is their attitude and their
Absolutely.
approach and mentality, and obviously, you know, we talked about before in another podcast episode, but you know, you can get this motivation from people online, right? But you have to then turn that and transform that into action.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you could like listen to like Gary V all
Yeah,
day and
yeah.
be like, man, what this is
I'm
is
pumped.
awesome. I'm pumped. But to do, I honestly
Are you
sometimes
gonna watch another video, or are you
Yeah.
gonna actually do something?
Yeah.
sometimes it's like midnight or 1 and I'm like tired and I see like a really dope like mountaineering, which is like I love mountaineering, I love hiking and stuff. And
Yeah.
so I'll see like a new documentary just popped on Netflix and I'm like, I'll watch this mid-afternoon tomorrow when I don't want to I'm about to go to bed. I don't
Yeah.
want to start getting like, oh yeah, because I know it's going to get my gears turning
Yeah,
and get me
yeah,
like
yeah.
wanting to do something myself. So I think that for me knows that I do listen to this stuff and it does make me want to go and actually put in the action, put in the work, or feel like, man, maybe I'm not fucking working hard enough. Let's keep working harder.
yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever.
And what it makes, like, when those kind of motivation things, what happens for me is like I want to take action, and then I want to actually be something like that towards other people. Like
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
do something that people are like, yo, I should go do something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you're gonna like change your life or like make your life better. You know what I mean?
I think that there's like a lot of really talented photographers and people who either were handed a camera when they were 4 years old because their dad was a famous photographer or something like that. I think that there are people that naturally have the eye for good taste and things that look good and naturally cling to things that look pretty and are the new trend or the new whatever better. I also think that there are, for every 100 of those people, there are 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people that are just as talented or more talented saying, but I'm not that talented. And
Right.
that's why they're not where those other photographers or those other musicians are, because they're like, I'm not that good of a rapper. I just freestyle from my house to the train stop.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I'm not good enough to be like this rapper.
Right. And if you're telling yourself that, right, how the hell are you gonna be able to convince anybody else?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you got to be telling yourself, yo, like I can do this. Like this is possible.
Which is fucking.
It's
Which is hard. It's a boundary to break. To be honest, that's hard.
Shut up.
It's like is breaking that boundary in your mind to be like, I can do this.
The mental
Like,
barriers are the biggest.
because I'm
barriers.
sure there's many
Absolutely.
times that all of us have been like, I'm so fucking done with this.
Yeah.
Like I'm just done with this.
Oh,
just
I've almost
tired.
thrown my
Yeah.
computer out the window.
Yeah.
I was so done with this. You know, I
Yeah,
literally
dude.
brought it out there. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I don't get the money to get this back.
I've gotten so mad at like a really expensive piece of camera equipment and been like, wow, that was actually really close to snapping, and been like, I'm gonna place that down. Like,
Look,
wow.
It was like, so, just a quick story. When I was at so I went and shot Talladega.
Yeah.
It was one of
Dope.
the truck races. I got to
Fuck
be in
yeah.
the pits. And
That's
brand new
badass.
tripod, just got it.
Yep.
They were telling me you can't have a tripod, only a monopod. So I took 2 legs up, and I was going to switch it just to one leg, bro. I didn't have the camera all the way on the tripod, so it went
Yeah.
right on the ground. My kit lens snapped off,
Oh, perfect.
and
We'll go a couple more minutes.
Sure.
all right. The kit lens snapped off, and I was like, well, shit, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I was like, I could just put the camera away and say, fuck it. But I was like, nope. Went and found some electrical tape, taped that some
Yep.
bitch back
We were
on.
talking about this, yeah.
Yep, and I was literally had to hold it in a certain position, and I
Yep.
still shot, and I got some amazing photos
There you
out
go.
of that, you know? So it is like,
That's crazy.
I was at that point, I looked at myself, I was like, I just fucked all this up. Just bought the camera like a week
Yeah.
ago. This is my first like time actually shooting with it.
Yeah.
Broke it. Now it's disheartening.
But
And
it's,
Oh my
it's
God,
definitely
yeah.
also like the difference between like, you know, now because I've ran around campus with a desk lamp and a broken tripod and shit like that, and was like, okay, we can use this for gel filters, and we can use this desk lamp for a soft, and we can use this, and not knowing like the terms or anything like that, but just like using certain effects, or like we can use this disc for a reflector or whatever. That when you when you are given expensive gear equipment, you are like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Equipment that's not gonna fail on you, let's fucking go. Like,
Yeah.
And you
you're
have that
ready.
Yeah, you have that previous experience where you're working with what you have, and you're kind of just, you know, being like just doing whatever you can.
You're shooting
to
for
make it
fucking
work.
Vanity Fair and something breaks, dude. Like, no problem. Let's rig up this pulley
Yep.
system that I used to use when I was
Adapting,
you know.
adapting.
Just
man.
MacGyver coming out. Really
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
MacGyvering situations is the
yeah.
best.
That's like
well,
probably
overcome and adapt, man.
That's
Yeah.
the best skill.
That's what the military taught me, man. It's like there's nothing you can do. Well, you can't. There's nothing you can do in the military that they'll ever be like, all right, well, you know, you can't do anything else, so stop. They'll always be like, figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, you will always have to figure it out. And depending on what that is, you might have to do some weird shit. But hey, if it works, it works.
And I don't know
You
about
know?
yourself, but like I think for me and for many other people, it's recognizing that someone did this before me.
Yep.
Like, so I can do it, you know. And like in new systems, when you get a new job and they're like, you got to handle all these orders and you got to do all this, and you're like, and I always have this conversation in my head where I'm like, I'm gonna go to the fucking boss and tell him like, this is ridiculous. We need to hire another person on. We're two shift, or we have this and this and this. But I'm like, they've been doing this system since they opened up.
Yeah.
And it's always worked.
Yep.
For the person that was before me and the person that was before that. Yeah, they ran into trouble. Yeah, they were stressed too, but it's worked.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's
Yeah.
just like,
It's not broke, don't fix it.
it's
And
just
that's
like that
even
hard
though,
work.
Yeah, you don't agree with it sometimes, but hey, it's the way it is.
Yeah, and just having the, you know, if you have the awareness to know, okay, is this me making an excuse, or is this actually something that should be, you know, fixed, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what we just said before is like we'll just make excuses. Oh, I can't do that thing because it's hard, right?
Yeah.
But then if you adapt and you know, tape that lens on,
Yeah, yeah.
or
yeah.
you
yeah.
freaking use
fucking
that
badass.
broken, yeah, that's badass. Use the broken desk lamp.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's like that skill right there. Be like, yo, we can. You don't have to
Definitely.
just give up when something goes wrong. In fact, you should actually almost invite that sometimes because it's gonna make you adapt and use things in different ways and
Yeah.
you know actually figure things out because there's always inevitably there's going to be things that go wrong. There's going to be problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like once you
It's how
like
you-
reshape your mind about it, it's like it's
It's how you cope
big.
with it.
It's one of the
Right.
reasons I felt like it's one of the getting into like doing this podcast was basically understanding and watching Joe Rogan's first podcast when him and Red Band were just sitting on a computer like, how do we do this? What does that click on? Oh, are we in chat rooms now? And like back when the fucking big ass computer, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and like the desktop and the big towers and shit, and they're just like, what is this? What is this? And the
Now they're
quality
at,
is like
over 1,000 episodes.
oh dude, like, and the quality is like 5 megapixels, and they're on like, and they're on a computer, they're on like on a computer camera, you know, one of the ones you used to plug in your computer and
Yeah.
have a separate
webcam.
they're on a webcam, yeah. And that's how they're doing their first and they were sitting on a couch in Joe Rogan's house, his fucking daughter's running around and shit like that, and like his dog's barking and shit like that, and they're just like, oh, anyways, fucking like, what are we even doing here? But like, dude's just keeping it calm, keeping
Yeah.
it chill.
And
Just
now
like
they sit
you.
there and smoke weed.
Yeah, right.
Dog,
Totally.
And they're just being
yeah.
like open about, yo, we don't fully know what's going on. No one knows exactly what they're doing. You don't have to put on a front. Like you know
Yeah.
all the answers.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
But
you
they
know?
started there.
There's no rule book behind it.
Yeah.
That's
There's
the
no rule
thing.
behind anything.
There is.
Like, it's-
You can do whatever the hell you want, and if it's too tough, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And you
But
get
they
to that
started
level.
there, and it was just
Amazing.
made me feel like, man, it's just like, that's where they started. This is where we started. And it, again, like the whole, like, someone did it before you, so this is how it goes. It's like, this is how it goes. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're
you know
like
what I'm
learning,
saying?
like,
Well, And it goes. So there was a song lyric, and it might be cheesy.
Oh, whatever, dude. Let's hear it.
But it was a song lyric back when I was like 14 that I heard, and it was, every masterpiece starts with a single stroke. And that stuck with me forever, man.
Yeah.
Like it starts with one single step.
Journey of 1,000 miles starts with
literally
one step. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Same context, It's like, I just, if we're gonna end this pretty soon, I would like to leave, everyone with a little, it's right now, if anyone's stuck in their life, not you're figuring out what they want to do or whatever the case may be, just try something. You never know where it's going to take you. Don't just, pick it up, try it for a day and put it down. Like, seriously.
Commit to it.
Commit and create. Because it saved my life. And I'll say that.
Same.
It definitely has. And there's no greater feeling than seeing that photo or that video.
It gave me a purpose.
Exactly. Because it's not, I don't think it's really what we do while we're here, but it's the impact we leave behind.
Yeah.
If we want to get a little, deep for a second, it is, I do think, and I want my photos to impact, the world in a way where the day I'm not here anymore, those photos will live on. And my message will always live on.
Yeah, no, dude, I totally agree. And like, just trying to be like a source of inspiration to other people.
If you're not helping someone, you're wasting your time.
And it's just like we talked about in another podcast prior to this one that we recorded. But it's just like I always think of it like this: is like we're artists, right? And like you gotta, and it takes a while even to just start saying that because people can think, oh, like that's pretentious, like you're calling yourself an artist. Like no, like we're artists.
Or
like,
saying like I'm not a professional.
Yeah, right.
Man.
But it's like you
Just
are a
say,
professional
yes,
when
you
you
are.
say you are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we're artists. So beyond just our art, like we are creating and we are the architects of our own life, like what we do, how we live it, and then what legacy or what we want to give to other people. And that's like what you said is like that's like the most important thing for me is like that's what I want to like relay to other people and realize like if you're challenging yourself and you're breaking those boundaries, right, and you're pushing beyond into the unknown where you don't really know what's going to happen, that is helping other people do that too. And then your potential for what your life is and what you can do just goes through the roof. Because you're willing to do that and knowing that there's other people around you that are helping you get there, and then they're on their own journey as well and you're helping them. That to me is what it's all about.
Absolutely. And it takes 10,000 hours to become good
master at anything.
And
let's put in 50,000.
I'm saying,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
True.
anyone can do anything in this world. Just takes a little bit of time.
Patience.
And definitely
Patience
a lot
is
of dedication.
In this social media driven instant gratification world that we're in. I think that for myself personally as well, like the patience is the most difficult thing, but the patience is like that will take you to the right place because
it will.
You'll just be grounded in patience by just continue to do what you want to do and be like, yo, I need to practice patience, and then things more come to you versus you needing to run to them. It's more about them coming to you because you've like made your mind or you've kind of like transformed your mind to like wait and have patience for what you're doing and trust that what you're doing is going to bring you to the right place because you have faith in yourself.
Well, even some of the worst times in your life will lead you to the most beautiful destinations. And I know that's been said before.
Yeah, of course.
But, and I'm a product of that.
Yeah.
And, I think it'll help anybody to know that, just because you may be in a bad spot right now, you may be in a spot you think you can't come from, you can't get out of, wait a year, two, but work on yourself.
You got to go through the
fire
to
and the
get
fire.
to the peaks. You
got to go deeper into the crevasse in order to get out.
Exactly.
Dude,
and that's going to help.
Man.
I really hope a lot of people, listen to this and take at least something from it.
Yeah.
Because, I love the idea. And I love that, I appreciate you guys for having me on here, Dad.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming out.
We're glad to have you, dude.
Yeah.
Solid episode. I had fun.
Yeah, definitely. So,
You killed it.
Hell yeah. All right, well, we'll end it on that. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in to Breaking Boundaries podcast. My name is Raphael. We have Tyler over here as our guest and Matt over here as another host. And we had a great time talking to all of you guys. Want to hear about all your opinions, comments below, any suggestions you may have for the podcast. We're just getting this started off, so I'm always open to hear any suggestions you may have, people you might want to see on here, or conversations, topics you might want to hear about. Again, we had a great time today, and we're going to have all the links for all social media websites, links to Tyler's information below so that you can see some of his work possibly and get to know a little bit of the background behind the person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and thanks, Tyler, for just dropping by.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You guys provided the platform. All I had to do was show up, so thank you guys.
Breaking the boundaries today.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, like Raphael said, we appreciate you guys watching. Any suggestions, drop them down below. All the links, all that good social media stuff will be over there too. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.
Peace.